you know, we're all going pretty good. But it's a shame we lost Jason Lyons. He's a real trump card, and he rode very good here in the Grand Prix. So that's a bit of a loss. But you know, we've got Craig Boyce in, and I think we've got a good 5. That's the main thing.
Okay, it's a tough call. We'll see how you go. Thanks very much. Let me just muscle in between you here. Chris Louis, it's been a long time since 1989. Are you going to bring it home for us?
We're going to be giving it 100% without a doubt. You know, we had a really disappointing time in Czech Republic last year, and the lads are all up for it, so we'll be out there giving it our best.
Now, Dave Jessup said earlier that winning is the only thing that matters. Participating is for losers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, nobody remembers, you know, who came second and third. I mean, we were there in Czechia last year, and to be honest, I can't even remember who came second. I just know that we had a disaster. So, you know, we've got Mark, who's on top of the world at the moment, flying. We've got Martin Dugard, who won the Grand Prix here. So, no, I think the guys out there know that we've got a good, strong team.
Certainly exciting looking team. Thanks a lot, Chris. See how you get on. Sam Ermolenko for the mighty Americans. A great record you've got in this championship. Inspired?
Yeah, very much. I mean, our team really works hard as a unit, and they, you know, they got their work cut out for us today. It's going to be a tough one, but luckily we got Greg and Billy both. This is their home track, so that should be a bonus.
And Greg and Billy, of course, both on form this year.
Absolutely, they're really good. We got John Cook, the cowboy, back, and he's a real good team player, and he makes my job easy.
Okay, well, let's see if you have an easy job of it today. Thanks a lot, Sam. And last but certainly not least, Tony Rickardson, lovely to see you again. What are the chances of Sweden taking it today?
I don't know, you know, we're all really pumped, and I think our strongest side is we have a really good team spirit, and I think we all can push each other a little bit extra. So I think that's our strongest point, and hopefully that will carry us all the way through today.
Okay, thanks very much.
In yellow is Mark Loram for England. Gate 3 for the USA, that's Billy Hamill. And on the outside in white is Chris Louis for England. Remember the riders, 3 from Poland. Up above is Mr. Grotski, and he will look down and keep control of this meeting. Away we go then for the very first heat. Starley Marshall moves away, and away they go. And coming across in red is Billy Hamill on his home league track. But coming through on the inside is Mark Loram. Loram picks it up for England ahead of Billy Hamill for the USA. And at the back, problems for Chris Louis, who looks as if he's going to retire, which will put Sam Ermolenko in 3rd place. And going like lightning is Mark Loram.
We need this win from Mark, there's no doubt about that. Chris Louis was very, very fortunate there not to hit anything on the inside, because he catapulted it off the fence onto that white line, and that could have been very, very nasty, Tony.
But Mark Loram is fast and furious, and Mark Loram is opening up some gap now in front of Billy Hamill, who's the track record holder here. Sam Ermolenko is now retiring. Sam Ermolenko has tumbled into the fence. He's gone down. Coming through into 3rd place is Chris Louis, and this will put England in front as they go into the final lap now, with Mark Loram stretching that lead ahead of Billy Hamill. Back in 3rd place now is Chris Louis, which is just what England want to close that gap, with Sam Ermolenko now in blue in the last place going into the final lap as Mark Loram takes that ahead of Billy Hamill in red, and that's 4 points to 2 to England, and a great start for England in their quest to wrest this World Team Cup. Mark Loram from that first bend going well, and Mark Loram getting the backing from Chris Louis in the end, following a mistake by Sam.
Mark Loram there, Mark's in the yellow helmet on gate 2, just gets squeezed a little bit, but he just gets the run into that first corner. Now just watch Chris Louis here. He catches the back of Sam Ermolenko, he goes into the fence, back towards the inside, but Mark Loram in the picture there, in the lead. He just stayed there, looking back at the opposition there. A great ride from him, although Billy Hamill's really putting him under pressure at the moment. Again, this is the first turn, Chris Louis there. Watch him just catch the safety fence. Unbelievable to stay on that bike. Now he actually goes across there, hits the centre white line, the white line on the inside, loses something off his bike, but fortunately he's able to keep going, and it was a good thing he did, because he actually carried on and got that 3rd place when Sam Ermolenko went down. But Mark Loram really was flying, and good first ride from him.
Really, Mark, great win, and you really needed that one.
Yeah, it's nice to start on a good foot, you know, and I think Chris got the 3rd, didn't he? So it's important to get a good first ride underway. I'm glad it's over.
Did you know what was going on behind you? Because there was a time when Chris was lucky to hang on to it and was just going to end up coming 4th.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, to be honest with you. Like I say, I see it was Billy behind me, and then obviously I had to let Chris do his own thing.
Okay, well done, Mark. In fact, Chris is over here. Can we just grab him? Thanks a lot. Chris, can I just quickly grab you? What happened there?
I don't know. I was hoping you might be able to tell me. I don't know. Just the suit I'm wearing moved a little bit on the seat, and so I didn't make the best of starts, but I thought I was going to get there. And I got moved out a bit and ran wide, and then it's so greasy, so I couldn't stop, you know, just sort of straight to the fence.
A little bit lucky to get third then in that case.
I was, yeah, I actually went onto the middle of the track and dented everything. And
All right. Get it sorted out then, thanks a lot.
Sweden current world champion Tony RICKARDSSON. Gate 2 for England is Joe Screen, who races in England for Eastbourne, currently 18th in the Grand Prix standings. Michael KARLSSON goes in blue in Gate 3 for Sweden. On the outside in yellow and black is Martin Dugard, the 31-year-old Eastbourne captain, who of course won the British Grand Prix as a wild card on this very track. Crowd watching intensely here at Brandon Stadium. And away they go, and on the inside Tony RICKARDSSON jets, but look at Martin Dugard. From the outside, Martin Dugard shot into that first bend, but now the pressure on Dugard on the inside of him from Tony RICKARDSSON sent Dugard wide. Back in third place in white is Joe Screen now coming through. At the rear in blue is Michael KARLSSON, but Tony RICKARDSSON showed himself to be a true world champion on that one.
Oh, fabulous riding from RICKARDSSON, the way he just moved Martin Dugard there down the bottom bend. Now he's got a good run on his own, but the English pair, Joe Screen and Martin Dugard, are tucked into the second place with Michael KARLSSON in pursuit in the blue.
We should explain team riding essential here perhaps from Screen and Dugard, because they have to keep the man at the back there, Michael KARLSSON in blue, and keep him there. The best England can hope for is 3 points here, but they're going to have to work. Out front, of course, Tony RICKARDSSON set for 3 points, but Dugard tumbles down, and England's chance is going with that one because points being thrown away. Dugard overcooked it. Tony RICKARDSSON will take the checkered flag. Ahead of in second place in white, Joe Screen for England. In blue for Sweden is Michael KARLSSON, and that's a 4-2 margin. Sweden 4, England 2 in that one, and Martin Dugard desperately disappointed. We see him climbing the safety fence on his way back to the pits. I don't know what happened to Martin Dugard there. England had a 3-all for the asking, but have now gone down by 4-2 in that particular heat, with the world champion Tony RICKARDSSON winning it, and winning it by the proverbial street.
Here, Martin Dugard in the yellow helmet comes off gate 4. Just look at that, he's got 2 bike lengths. He gets to the first corner, he pulls down ahead there of Tony RICKARDSSON, but the manoeuvre here by RICKARDSSON as he goes down the inside of the straight, he's just moved Dugard off the line there. Now Dugard has been pushed right out wide there, lucky just to hang on to that second place, but Joe Screen sees the opportunity there to come back. Now it looks as though we're going to get a 3-3, but then Dugard runs very, very wide down the bottom bend here. Now Screen there is back in second place, but Dugard enters the bottom turn there and just spins right round completely. The track's pretty slippery at the moment. Quite a bit of water on the track right now, and Dugard certainly hit it and went down.
Disappointment for Martin.
Look a bit perturbed about something, but a great ride.
Sorry?
You look a bit upset about something, but that was a great ride.
I didn't know what was going on because they never showed any third lap flag, and he had the red flag in his other hand, and when I crossed the finish line, I had the checkered flag and the red flag in there, so I didn't know what was going on really.
So you didn't know what was going on behind you?
No, and I didn't know if I crossed the finish line for winning the race or if it's going to be a restart, so it was a little bit confusing.
Okay, well let me tell you won the race. First of all, a good 3 points, well actually 4 points for your team. What is the key today, Tony, to the winning team? What is the key to winning here?
Well, you know, it's really important to get as many three races in, and hopefully try to get a 4-2 or something in. I think it's going to be really close today. And
the team riding is imperative, right?
Yeah, sure do, you know, and we really got to help each other out as much as we can.
Okay, well done, Tony. Good start. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Teammate is Henrik Gustafsson, not riding in England this year. On the inside is Todd Wiltshire for Australia in blue. Gate 2 in yellow, that's Peter KARLSSON for Sweden. Gate 3 for Australia in red, Jason Crump. And for Sweden on the outside in white is Henrik Gustafsson. That's the lineup. The Australians wearing GP. While Todd Wiltshire can play his part here, of course, current Grand Prix rider. They're close in the middle, gates 2 and 3, but away they go. And coming from the outside is Henrik Gustafsson, as Martin Dugard did before. But now the Australian pair coming through. Jason Crump in red is gaining with him, teammate and partner Todd Wiltshire round the outside. Locking up a shade in yellow and the black is Peter KARLSSON. But now Henrik Gustafsson, who doesn't ride in England regularly now, is showing the class we've seen so frequently when he did and in the Grand Prix. But Crump's in pursuit.
Yeah, well, Australia are the current champions, but Gustafsson here is holding a good lead. Jason Crump is really having to go by him at the moment. But the track is a bit tricky at the moment, a bit slippery underneath, and the riders are a bit cautious at the moment.
Certainly on that pit's bend where Martin Dugard took a tumble earlier on. Of course, Chris Louis having a problem down the straight, but with a lap to go now for Sweden. Henrik Gustafsson in the white helmet colour, but Jason Crump is picking it up down the outside, and shutting the gate is Henrik Gustafsson. Crump will have to try again, and does on the final bend, but Gustafsson will hold it now and win it for Sweden ahead of Jason Crump in red. In yellow in third place is Peter KARLSSON, and tailed off in blue in last place is Todd Wiltshire. But as far as Sweden are concerned, they'll be absolutely delighted with a 4-2 victory to follow up their earlier effort in their first race when they got 4 race points.
Now here, Peter KARLSSON just sneaks up the inside there of Todd Wiltshire to take that third place, and that's a critical point there for Sweden, because these points are all going to add up and they're going to make a big difference to that final score, and you've got to get heat advantages, and that was a good manoeuvre there from Peter KARLSSON. But just look there, Jason Crump had a real good run around the outside of Henke Gustafsson. Henke left him absolutely nothing there by the fence. Jason caught the fence and was lucky to stay with the bike, and on the last turn he really had a bad last corner and just about hung on to that second place.
Well, against the USA, Lee Adams in red for Australia goes from the inside gate 1. Greg Hancock in white for USA goes gate 2. Gate 3 for Australia, the Peterborough captain, Ron Sullivan. On the outside is Cowboy John Cook, the oldest rider in the Elite League. He wears the yellow and black helmet colour from gate 4. And gate 4 at the moment, Peter, providing quite glancing at their teammates in action against Australia. Are starting off to lose away. Away they go, and coming across to the outside is John Cook to pick it up. Going wide at the rear is Ron Sullivan. Coming through into second place in white there is track expert and Coventry captain Greg Hancock. But going wide now is John Cook. The track causing a few problems to the riders, but now a chance for the USA to team ride and perhaps steal a march on the Australians, because the champions now are in positions 3 and 4 in this one, and there's work to do for Lee Adams, and even more for the man at the back, Ron Sullivan.
Yeah, great riding from the 41-year-old John Cook there, hanging on to that first place. He's just riding wide, and that's allowing his teammate there, Greg Hancock, to hang on to that second place, and this is a good team ride on the tricky, slippery track conditions, Tony.
Well, truly brilliant it will be if the Americans can clinch this one, because we know that the home track advantage in the British Elite League of Greg Hancock and Billy Hamill could help, but it's a great ride by these two, and I can tell you that Greg Hancock in white is in second place, but out front, John Cook, perhaps a surprise winner, ahead of Greg Hancock. Back in third place in red is Lee Adams, and the USA take that by 5 points to 1, and that is exactly what they wanted, because the USA are now well and truly in contention, and real disappointment for Australia, who've taken just 3 points from their first 2 USA. Billy Hamill on his home league track at Coventry in red, USA, and on the outside Michael KARLSSON for Sweden wears the yellow helmet colours. This is the 5th heat of 24 all told. Every rider entitled to 6 rides, away they go. Lifting up in for Tony Rickardson in white, but Rickardson picks it up down that back straight, pursued by the rider in red, Billy Hamill. Hamill is going to try and take Rickardson on the inside. Rickardson starting to read the track, knowing where he should go. For the USA in third place, it's Brent Werner. And the back disappointment for Sweden and Michael KARLSSON. But once again, the race is on out front, because Tony Rickardson looks faster than anybody here, and he's heading Billy Hamill by the proverbial street.
Yes, you're certainly right about that, Tony. Tony Rickardson now has got this track weighed up perfectly, and he's just pulling away on that GM engine. Not a lot of riders on GMs at the moment, but Tony's certainly making this one move.
Brent Werner has dropped back to last place, with it coming through into third place, Michael KARLSSON for Sweden. If it stays like this, there'll be a 4-2 advantage for Sweden, and from 3 heats they will have had the heat advantage in each and every one of their heats by 4 points to 2. Rickardson, as he goes into the final quarter of the lap, to take the checkered flag with some comfort for Tony Rickardson, ahead of Billy Hamill in red. Third place goes to Michael KARLSSON in yellow. It means that Sweden win that by 4 points to 2, and the heat winner is the world champion Tony Rickardson, 60.12 seconds, and that is not too far outside Billy Hamill's track record here of 59.4 seconds. But
see the scrap for second and third place on the outside. Michael KARLSSON just squeezes through that gap there behind next to Brent Werner and the fence, and he takes third place, and that was a 4-2 for Sweden.
colours. Chris Louis in red from the inside. Lee Adams for Australia goes in white from gate 2. Mark Loram for England in blue gate 3. And on the outside in yellow and black, that's Ron Sullivan, the Peterborough captain for Australia. England in this one, wearing the red and the blue helmet colours. That means gates 1 and 3. And there is Mark Loram, we hope potential world champion from England. Mark Loram wearing the number 17 tonight. Hope to go rather better than 17th in Saturday's Grand Prix in Bidgosh. They line up now. This is England against Australia. England in red and blue. Australia white and yellow and black. Heat number 6. Starting marshal struggling this time to get them in order. And a few games being played by the riders, PC.
Yeah, Chris Louis is a bit close to gate 2, and Lee Adams there, who's on gate 2, doesn't like that very much, but it seems to be settling down now. Lee Adams has moved quite close to gate 3.
So here we go, heat number 6, Gary Stoops, also by our referee, that's the 6 goals, coming across to the outside in yellow is Ron Sullivan, but picking it up on the inside is Chris Louis. Louis trying to block the way, but coming through on the inside is Lee Adams to take advantage. Round the outside, but trying is Mark Loram. We need a typical Mark Loram chase here, and he's starting on it down this straight because he goes wide, he comes back. England are second and third. They've left Ron Sullivan at the back standing, and now the pursuit is on of Lee Adams by this talented English pair of Mark Loram and Chris Louis.
Yeah, Lee Adams is certainly leading this race, but Mark Loram's in pursuit, but he's got Chris Louis there with him as well. Mark's struggling there in third place, just behind Chris Louis, and he can't really get a good crack at Lee Adams.
Adams is extending the lead. It looks as if Adams would take the first heat victory here for the Australians as they need it, but England will pack into second and third place and pocket the 3 heat points. Those two that prove invaluable, but Lee Adams extends his lead round the final bend. The checkered flag is in sight, and Lee Adams takes that to 3 race points ahead of Chris Louis in red, Mark Loram in blue. That's 3 points to England and 3 points to Australia. The battle is joined here, but Lee Adams, for the World Team Cup holders, Australia, has helped to keep them in the meeting.
Really good start there, but he's had to turn very, very sharp as he came out onto the back straight. That allowed Lee Adams there to get the racing line up the inside. There was a real lot of grip there. We saw a little shove there from Ryan Sullivan into Chris Louis, but Ryan really didn't capitalise on that because Ryan is still at the back. Now on the start we can see what happens to Mark Loram. Lee Adams comes across him there, pushes Mark out wide on the first turn, and Mark really has got his work cut out now to try and get up the front there with Chris Louis. But the rider in white, just look at this, third to first place, down that back straight, all within 35 yards. And from here on in, Lee Adams had it all his own way.
And he had it all his own way on the way to the
inside there.
Yeah, I just got a good run. I think Chris was really worried about Ryan coming up the outside, but I managed to get a good run off the first turn and a nice entry into the turn, and I thought I might have ran him a little bit wide, and Ryan could have turned back, but it wasn't to be, so we've got a little bit more hard work to do.
What about the conditions out there? Just how slippery is it?
It's not too bad. It's drying out a little bit. It's a little bit wet coming off turn 4, but it'll be okay. I think you know, after a few more races it'll dry out.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well done.
in red for Australia. Todd Wiltshire goes in yellow from gate 2. It's Martin Dugard for England, gate 3 in blue. On the outside, it's Jason Crump in the white helmet colours. Jason Crump, of course, feared by most riders these days, and well, a second place first time out. He'll be
See what he can do.
Gary Stoops, the starting marshal, gets them into line. Polish referee looks down from the final way. They go quickly. On the inside in red, it's Joe Screen, but now picking it up round the outside. Joe closes the gate, good and proper on Jason Crump, and Crump, he doesn't like that. He waves to the referee, and Jason Crump is out of this one, but away with, well, Joe Screen is flying out of this one ahead of Martin Dugard. The remaining Aussie is Todd Wiltshire, and Jason Crump is furious as he coasts round to the back. But Joe Screen and Martin Dugard can do it for England in this one.
Well, we saw the same thing happen to Chris Louis earlier in exactly the same spot. Now, Chris actually kept going, but I think Crumpy there feels a little bit perturbed about that one. But there's no doubt about Joe Screen making that start now. He's got a great lead, and it's great this that Martin Dugard's right with him, because 5 points for us is just what we need at this point in the match.
Well, 5 points here will put England into the lead in this World Team Cup. They may have had one race more than many, but they're going to take the checkered flag here, and Joe Screen is going to win it in the red helmet colours ahead of his teammate and partner Martin Dugard. Todd Wiltshire in third place. place. But the Australians, the holders, are in trouble here with just one race point from that. England will be absolutely delighted with that ride by Grand Prix man Joe Screen. And Joe Screen showed his worth there, the 27-year-old former World Under-21 champion.
Side start on the outside were both working well. On the outside, Jason Crump makes a pretty good start there, but also on the inside, Screeny's got the shortest way to the corner. Screeny leads it now when they come onto the back straight. Screeny just moves on the outside and stops Jason Crump's run around the outside. Now Jason really, he's very angry about that one. Jason felt that Screeny had shut the gate on him, and I suppose you could say that Screeny did do that because it really stopped Jason Crump's run, but it's very, very important. Now we can see this from a different angle. Jason Crump looks as though he's going to go all the way around the outside of Joe Screen there, just catches Screeny's back wheel, and at this point it is too late for Jason Crump. The England pair are away for that 5 points, and that's put them right back in the hunt. And are we seeing England?
Yeah, just you know, I didn't want to get sat down on gate one, and I sort of moved up, and then at the last minute I saw Jason coming. I didn't see him straight away, and he's not happy, but you know, as I say, I didn't see him to start with, and I just made me line, and I squashed him in the fence a little bit.
It looked like the same thing that happened to Chris Louis, but you don't see it as being particularly controversial.
Not really, you know, it's racing at the end of the day, and that happens a lot in Speedway. But as I say, I didn't see him to start with, and at the last minute he had to shut up.
Okay, well, you stuck the English team in the lead, so well done, Joe. Okay, let's now go back to PC and Tony.
As we move on to a battle between USA and Sweden in heat number 8. On the inside, Greg Hancock goes for the USA. Peter KARLSSON for Sweden in yellow, gate 2. John Cook, a heat win already for the USA, goes in blue from gate 3. And Henrik Gustafsson for Sweden on the outside. England are current leaders with 14 points ahead of Sweden's first race of the afternoon. On the outside, Henrik Gustafsson. Gustafsson also a heat win. Away they go. Gustafsson, he's going very, very fast, and he's picking up round the outside. But good riding by Greg Hancock. Will try and jump the gate. It isn't good enough because Gustafsson goes by, and his teammate Peter KARLSSON's on the inside. And the Americans now have work to do because Peter KARLSSON is making progress, and Gustafsson out front is going well.
You're right, Tony. Greg Hancock certainly isn't having it his own way because Gustafsson's just holding on to that lead. But Greg Hancock, oh, what a wheelie there for Henrik Gustafsson. Yeah, absolutely threw that lead away, Tony.
Look at Henrik Gustafsson. He's now at the back as we look down on the action because out front is Greg Hancock in red. Peter KARLSSON for Sweden is still in second place. Gustafsson will come again to try and put John Cook at the back under pressure, but with only a lap to go, Gustafsson has a mountain to climb, and away we go down the back straight with Greg Hancock. Greg Hancock in red is going to take this pressure from Peter KARLSSON on that final bend. Hancock is looking the wrong side, but holds that in red ahead of KARLSSON in yellow. In blue is Hancock's teammate John Cook. The USA take that by 4 points to 2, which means that Sweden are now level with England at the top of the tree on 14. And the USA, well, they're closing the gap on 11 with the 4 points from that one. But Greg Hancock on his home track took advantage of a slip by Henrik.
He entered that bottom turn there. You can see he just straightens that bike up completely and runs straight towards the fence. He just about gets it down, but catches the back fence there with that dirt deflector in the back.
Billy Hamill for the USA goes in white, gate 2. It's Henrik Gustafsson in gate 3 in red, and on the outside, Sam Ermolenko for the USA. That's the lineup. Sweden can extend or open up a lead. Track attendants move away. Starting marshal is satisfied. The referee has his finger on the button. Up by the tapes and away they go. And on the inside in blue, trying to keep it down, is Peter KARLSSON. Coming through in white is Billy Hamill. On the inside in red, Henrik Gustafsson steals a march. Sweden are 1 and 2. The Americans at the back now. In yellow, Sam Ermolenko in third place goes wide and is out of this one at the back to leave his teammate and partner Billy Hamill in pursuit of the 2 Swedes out front. And those 2 riding like that will take some passing by Billy Hamill.
Yeah, Peter KARLSSON's been having a fabulous year this year, and he's really carrying it through this World Team Cup final. Henrik Gustafsson is coming good at the right time because Sweden are beginning to assert themselves now. They've got some real good riders, especially with RICKARDSSON here, and they seem to have the beating here of the Americans, Tony.
Well, could Sweden be set for taking the World Team Cup? Because down the back straight, down the front straight here, we're going into the final lap. Peter KARLSSON in blue, ahead of in red Henrik Gustafsson. This will be a 5-1 to Sweden. Desperately disappointing for the Americans, who I'm sure will battle back into this. Billy Hamill's in third place. always okay, but Sama Malenko is tailed off, but the checkered flag is taken by Peter KARLSSON in blue. A clench of the fist from Henrik Gustafsson in second place. Billy Hamill is third in white. That's 5 to Sweden, 1 to the USA. And now Sweden are well and truly in front, with Peter KARLSSON winning his second successive heat, and Sweden now on 23 points. Australia just 15. Sweden are in front on 28. The USA have 24. England will be looking for a maximum return here. If the holders Australia are to close the gap, they would need just that. Australia have Ron Sullivan in blue on the inside. Joe Screen goes for England from gate 2. For the Aussies, Lee Adams is in gate 3 in the red helmet colour, and Martin Dugard for England goes on the outside on the yellow. This could be a league match. I think it's Eastbourne against Australia. Lee Adams is from Kings Lynn, Ron Sullivan from Peterborough, Joe Screen and Martin Dugard from Eastbourne. Tapes and away they go very, very quickly now, and Joe Screen picks it up in white. Joe Screen heads the Aussie pair, but Martin Dugard will battle from the back, but going through is Lee Adams, and Australia aren't done yet because Lee Adams is... Oh, Martin Dugard is down for the second time today. Dugard on one part of the track, his machine on another, and as Joe Screen heads the Australians, this one will be called a halt and there'll be a restart. And I would imagine there will have to be an exclusion, but who our Polish referee will exclude, that remains to be seen. But what a perler for Martin Dugard. We hope he's all right. He's a little bit shaken there, and the first aid staff are out there quickly.
Yeah, that was a nasty fall there, Tony. We've mentioned that bad bump there going into that corner. It must really be a really bad hole, because we can see Martin Dugard, he comes into the corner there, sideways, the bike's upright, he hits that hole, it straightens him up right over the front. He falls heavily on his handlebars at the front, and I think that's his problem, because his bike there hit him in the chest, and it looks as though he was winded very badly. It seems to me as though he's struggling to catch his breath, and you know, he's down there on his knees, and it's not a nice situation to be in. We can see again, Martin goes down the back straight there, and he cuts right into the inside. He turns sharply, Joe Screen's outside him. Now at this point, Martin gets the bike really sideways just as he hits that hole, and look at that, it throws him right onto the handlebars, and he was very lucky there not to get run over there from Ryan Sullivan.
So a suspected broken collarbone for Dugard. Let's see what happened in the rerun.
So the rerun of Heat 16 with the unfortunate Martin Dugard excluded, leaving Australia with Ron Sullivan in blue and Lee Adams in red, going from gates 1 and 3. Between them, England's sole representative, Joe Screen, and Peter Collins alongside me. Joe Screen will have to do it all on his own.
He will, Tony, because the best he can do actually is get 3 points, and England need every single point that they can get. And you know, Joe's got a lot of weight on his shoulders now, because he actually made the start in the first one, and he did get passed by Lee Adams, who is looking very, very sharp.
Well, effective team riding by the Aussies could well put the holders back in contention, because a 5-1 to them here would take them to 20 points, and they would start to close the gap on Leader Sweden. This is heat number 16, and away they go now. And Joe Screen does battle, and Joe Screen does pick it up, and Joe Screen heads them down the back straight, but now he's got to fight off 2 Aussies, and coming through on the inside is Ron Sullivan. Ron Sullivan will probably take Screen wide and try and leave room for his teammate Lee Adams to come through. Adams is chasing, but Screen has come back, and Screen has done it again for England, and Screen will carry the flag down the back straight, and 3 race points for him in this would be miraculous, would be brilliant for England, and he's keeping in front of the 2 Aussies. The Aussies in blue, Ron Sullivan, Lee Adams in red, but Screen goes wide. Screen picks up the grip, and Screen leads down the back straight.
Yeah, he does. Lee Adams in the red, he's coming at him, but Screen is riding the fast, wide line. He's very, very wide, but Adams is coming at the inside, but Screen's just got enough speed again to hang on, Tony.
With 3/4 of a lap to go, the race is on. Joe Screen down the back straight. The Aussie cheers for the man in red, Lee Adams. Screen will have to hold him on this bend. 1/4 of a lap to go. Joe Screen round the outside. Joe Screen does it. Joe Screen wins it. Ahead of in red, Lee Adams. Blue is Ron Sullivan. 3 points apiece, the heat score. That keeps England well and truly in contention. A marvellous ride by Joe Screen. His club captain, Martin Dugard, was out of it, tumbled out, taken away in an ambulance, but Joe Screen came back.
Again from Joe Screen. Look at this here. Joe's just got the speed to go round the outside. He's far, far wider than he should. Ryan Sullivan just looked to the left there as Screeny was coming down the other side. A mistake there really from Ryan Sullivan. He left too much of a gap for Joe Screen. Joe wouldn't normally go through that gap, but there was just enough, and that was enough for him to go for it.
Which means that after 16 heats, Sweden lead on 28, England second 26, USA 24, Australia 18. All teams have had in the team. Mark Loram in blue there is going to produce, I hope, the sort of form that we can see demonstrate frequently in the Grand Prix series. Yet to win a Grand Prix this year, but here we know that he's in line for that world title. Louis and Mark Loram for England, Greg Hancock and John Cook for the USA. England in the red and blue, USA in the white and yellow and black. Going into this, the 9th race for each of the teams. USA have 24 points, England have 26, Sweden the leaders with 28. Polish referee up above is Wojciech Grodzki. He's looking down on the actions there of Gary Snooks, who's our star marshal. Star marshal get light we see in the distance there. The referee expects him to move away, and then the referee is in charge of letting the tapes go. Nervous times, PC.
Yeah, the start marshal has just moved Mark Loram over a little bit. Mark was far too close to that line, and he's now put some space between him. But interestingly, that gate 4 isn't working like it was earlier on. It's totally changed around, Tony.
We look down on the action here. This is heat 17, England v USA. All the riders look across at the tapes and up they fly from the outside. John Cook gets a flyer for the USA in yellow and black. Greg Hancock, his teammate, is going to try and get with him, but splitting them is Mark Loram. Mark Loram is going to put the pressure on the 2 Americans. At the back is Chris Louis. This is going the way of USA, but Mark Loram, we know his capabilities, and with just under 3 laps to go, who knows what he can achieve here. Mark Loram is gaining on the man in front, John Cook. Mark Loram will take him wide. Loram will pick it up in this straight. He hits that famed bump at the top end, but the race is well and truly on here. Thrill a minute. Mark Loram for England. Down the back straight they go. Cook in pursuit on the inside. Hancock tail off at the back is Louis, and this is Mark Loram at his best.
Unbelievable riding from Loram there. He went right through that hole that we saw earlier to get that grip just to go by John Cook and Greg Hancock. Fabulous riding.
Down the back straight, Loram has done enough. If he can avoid the hole in the track, he will take the checkered flag here. 3 valuable points for England ahead of the American pairing of Greg Hancock in white, John Cook in yellow and black. The crowd appreciating a tremendous ride by England's hero now. We say it often enough, but Mark Loram, perhaps the most thrilling rider in the world, and where can we see more action than that? That was absolutely brilliant by Mark Loram. Heat 18 for Sweden, Tony RICKARDSSON, so brilliant, goes from the inside. Gate 2 for Australia, Todd Wiltshire in yellow. The Swedish reserve, Niklas Klingberg, the Intercontinental champion and a Grand Prix rider next year, comes in blue. On the outside, it's in white, Jason Crump. So plenty of action here. Heat 18. The Aussies desperately need to close the gap. The holders, Tony RICKARDSSON, has a perfect record so far. Our starting marshal walks away. The tapes fly up quickly. RICKARDSSON on the inside, but coming round the outside is Jason Crump. The race is on because for Sweden in blue it's Niklas Klingberg into second place. Team riding by the Swedes to hold Todd Wiltshire for the Aussies at the back. But in this one, Jason Crump is now the man who's got the speed, got the track craft, and got the skill to take the lead down the back straight.
Yes, could Jason Crump be the first man to beat Tony RICKARDSSON here today? He's looking very, very sharp now. He's got most of the work done. He's leading the race with 2 laps gone, and Tony RICKARDSSON basically is back in 3rd place, shielding his teammate Niklas Klingberg, who's having his first ride.
This will help England's cause, but I think Tony RICKARDSSON... Oh, look at Niklas Klingberg! He's on the floor, and this is even better for England because Tony RICKARDSSON in 2nd place now. As they go round here, Niklas Klingberg, I have to tell you, has remounted, but the man who's going to win this one is Jason Crump in white here. In 2nd place, Tony RICKARDSSON in red. 3rd in yellow is Todd Wiltshire. And that is a 4-2 margin in favour of the Australians. That will help England's cause no little because Sweden have only taken 2 points out of that heat, and it is getting closer and closer as we complete 18 heats. And That is Sam Ermolenko, and Billy Hamill is the rider in red to complete the lineup. So Sam Ermolenko in blue goes on the inside for Australia, Lee Adams in white for the USA, Billy Hamill, the track record holder here at Coventry. For Australia on the outside goes Ron Sullivan, who in each of the last 2 races he's had has finished in 3rd place, but helping his teammate home in front of him for a share of the heat points. This is heat 19. Track staff moves away. Gary Snooks, our starting marshal, once again has to do the work. The riders close together in gates 2 and 3. Our Polish referee up above, Wojciech Grodzki, looks down at them. And the crowd looks on intently here at Brandon Stadium. The World Team Cup boiling to a suitable climax here. People have made it despite petrol shortages all the way to Brandon Stadium. The crowd's enjoying it. Our starting marshal moves away, so too now to the riders as the tapes fly up, and the man in white is Lee Adams to help Australia's cause. Ron Sullivan has to pick it up round the outside. Oh, faces a battle as the gate is closed at the back by Billy Hamill to leave the Americans in 2nd and 3rd place. Hamill is in front of Sam Ermolenko. Work to do at the back for Ron Sullivan, but Lee Adams out front, made it from the gate, went round the 1st and 2nd bend with aplomb, and now holds the lead.
Yes, Billy Hamill takes no prisoners there with Ryan Sullivan, but out in front, Ryan's teammate Lee Adams is having a very, very good ride, but if it stays like this, we're going to get a split heat, a drawn heat 3 each.
Well, if they keep sharing the points, it will build to a suitable climax here, but Australia need to make ground. Australia need to do better, because the holders won't keep the World Team Cup if it stays like this with a lap to go. The rider in white is Lee Adams, who's doing his cause no harm, but he needs support behind him, and the men packing in immediately behind him now, the Americans. But at the back, Ron Sullivan is trying to make progress, trying to go by Sam Ermolenko, but the checkered flag is now to go to the rider in white. That, of course, is Lee Adams ahead of the American pair of Billy Hamill and Sam Ermolenko for a share of the points. It's USA 3, Australia 3 in that one, and plenty still to race for here. On the inside in blue is Carl Stonehewer. For Sweden, gate 2 in yellow, Peter KARLSSON. For England, gate 3, Joe Screen goes in red, and on the outside, Henrik Gustafsson for Sweden in white. For Carl Stonehewer coming straight into this without being out for a while, Peter, without being out this afternoon, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I just hope that his teammates have informed him about that patch down there, because we don't want him to hit that and go down.
Up fly the tapes. Stonehewer does keep it down well, and Stonehewer has the lead, but coming through on the inside now to put him under pressure is Henrik Gustafsson. Gustafsson goes by, now going by Stonehewer is Peter KARLSSON, and this could be tragic for England, but Stonehewer comes back. Work to be done at the back for Joe Screen, but somebody's motor is sadly misfiring somewhere around there. But Carl Stonehewer is out front, and in the procession, Gustafsson 2nd for Sweden, Peter KARLSSON 3rd, and at the back, Joe Screen is having problems.
Yeah, Stoney's got this race here. He's just about hanging on to that lead, but Screeny at the back, he's really got to get by, at least get a point from this to give us a heat advantage.
A magnificent ride at the moment by Carl Stonehewer. Can he involve the trials and tribulations of that end of the track? With just over a lap to go, he's been put under pressure now by Henrik Gustafsson. But Carl Stonehewer, the Workington rider, the England reserve, has come into this. You can hear the cheers around the arena, because Carl Stonehewer is keeping the flag of St George flying. And Carl Stonehewer, oh, that's desperately tight on the line. Desperately tight indeed. It looked as if Henrik Gustafsson might have just got it ahead of Carl Stonehewer, but who knows on that. Peter KARLSSON was yellow in 3rd place. We can look at the photo finish and see exactly who got the drop. Carl Stonehewer did it. Carl Stonehewer did it with a vengeance, and that's a magnificent result for England as Carl Stonehewer.
Carl Stonehewer there on the starting gate. He makes a pretty good start into that first corner, but he's got to turn very sharp on the inside. Joe Screen's right with him, but Joe is just a bit too wide. Now Stoney cuts back, but just look at Gustafsson, goes straight through the inside. But watch Stoney now, he goes very, very wide. Now here he gets such a lot of grip from that one little bit. That was the best corner for Carl of the whole race. That was just an unbelievable turn there from Stonehewer. Joe Screen at the back, try as he would, he just couldn't get the better there of Peter KARLSSON. Peter just had enough speed to stay ahead of him, but Carl was under pressure the whole race, and Carl very, very wide on that bottom turn, but as they went over the finish, Stoney just had that race by about half a wheel.
champion Tony RICKARDSSON. Gate 2 for the USA, Greg Hancock. Gate 3, Niklas Klingberg is the reserve in action for Sweden. And on the outside is John Cook, who's sprung a through surprises here already tonight. But Klingberg took a perler in his previous ride, but they know that he could do it, the Intercontinental champion, who's already in the Grand Prix for Sweden next season. RICKARDSSON in red. We see him there on the inside gate. His reserve in blue is Niklas Klingberg, goes from gate 3. Our starting marshal looks up, looks towards the referee. The referee knows the same start, and RICKARDSSON picks it up on the inside. His teammate and partner Niklas Klingberg is trying to move into second place, but Greg Hancock holds him off. At the rear it's John Cook, but Greg Hancock is now out in pursuit of Tony RICKARDSSON, and the race is on because Hancock has gone by RICKARDSSON as if he's standing still, and that could do England a big favour. It could do the USA a favour as well, but it's all boiling up to a brilliant climax here.
Yes, Greg Hancock's really been going well tonight, absolutely flying. Tony RICKARDSSON's crown is starting to slip. He's not looking quite so invincible now, and Hancock is just steaming off down that back straight, and if it stays like this will help England's cause.
It will also help the cause of the USA, because USA, England or Sweden could all still win this World Team Cup. The holders Australia look to be out of it, but down the back straight, Greg Hancock is keeping the stars and stripes flying, and Greg Hancock is going to take the checkered flag here with the wheelie. Ahead of in red, Tony RICKARDSSON. Third place in yellow goes to John Cook, which means the USA win that by 4 points to 2, and that was a surprise, turning the event perhaps on its head and taking the USA on to 34 points and within just 1 point of Sweden, who they raced against in that one. And both teams have one race.
See him there, he makes a good start off gate 1. On the outside of him, Greg Hancock just doesn't get there, but Tony RICKARDSSON turns very tightly around the line. He's got a great ride, he's looking at the opposition all the time, squeezes them a little bit down there, but just watch Greg Hancock here in the white. Greg runs very wide, just squeezes around the outside, coming out of the bottom bend, under the start and finish there. Greg Hancock, what a move there. Tony RICKARDSSON just did not expect that. Here we can see John Cook hanging on there to that third place from Niklas Klingberg. Again, the overtaking manoeuvre here on the outside, just got the grip there as he comes onto the straight and just sails straight past Tony RICKARDSSON, and a marvellous move from Hancock. He really is on form at the moment.
Well, the man of the moment is with Keith Hewen and Kelvin Tatum.
Greg, absolutely superb. The USA are right back in it now, and Sweden are under pressure.
Well, we wanted to fight right to the end, and we might have been looked at a little bit as underdogs here today, but we came here with fighting vengeance, and we wanted to prove a point, so we're hanging in there.
Kelvin's just about hanging in there as well. He's been sweating here watching that.
Superb ride, Greg. Coming into the meetings, I feel the Americans were probably the underdogs, but your form has been superb, and you're just, at the moment, you look like you could go on and win the meeting.
Well, I think we've got the ability to do it. I mean, obviously things got to happen here, but we're confident, we feel good, and Billy and Sam got a crucial one coming up.
Right. Yeah.
James Easter couldn't believe it. He came in earlier on. He said the USA shouldn't be in it today.
Oh, really? Well, that's a nice gesture anyway. But
you're doing it for him. Well done, boys. We'll go back then to
the blue helmet colours here, going from the inside. Yes, Lee Adams as a tactical substitute. For England, Mark Loram's in yellow. For Australia, Jason Crump in red. And Chris Louis goes on the outside for England in white. And if I can enlighten you on the tactical substitution regulations, if your team is 6 points or more behind the leaders, you may use a tactical substitute at any time. Any rider may have one such ride. And Lee Adams is taking advantage of that and going as a tactical substitute in blue. Peter, a good move.
Well, it is. It's a good move for Australia. Not particularly good for England, because Australia in this one are going to be very hard to beat, and we need every single point that we can get. With Mark Loram and Chris Louis out there, they've got to get it together, because these heats are now running out. Very little time now to grab this result.
4 Grand Prix riders in this heat 22. Great heated prospect here as our starting marshal looks to walk away and does on by the tapes again. Oh dear, real tragedy for Mark Loram, who's stuck at the tapes. His chain has come off at the back. We can see that chain, and England's hopes of the World Team Cup have evaporated through one link of a chain. But look at that man coming through. Chris Louis is keeping it alive, and Chris Louis is taking on a Australia on his own. Round the outside in red goes Jason Crump. On the inside in blue is the tactical substitute Lee Adams. And the Ipswich and England captain Chris Louis is keeping their hopes very, very much alive. This is a tremendous ride by Chris Louis.
Absolutely critical. He's got to get those 3 points to keep England's hopes alive, and he's now putting a bit of a gap between himself and Jason Crump and Lee Adams.
With just over a lap to go, Chris Louis has found something special here on that Michael Lee-tuned engine. He started to fly ahead of the Australians in red, Crump in blue. Adams, the Ipswich captain, has taken on the Kings Lynn pair in this one and is going to triumph and takes the checkered flag in white. Ahead of in red, Jason Crump. In blue is Lee Adams. That's Australia 3, England 3 in that one. And oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Australia move on to 28 points. The 3 points take England on to 35, which puts them level.
We lost Mark Loram in the yellow there on the start. The green light was on. The referee would not stop that race because the green light was on. Mark was left at the line. Chris Louis steamed into that first turn there. He rode very, very wide round the outside. He's just been squeezed there by Lee Adams. Jason Crump now is leading the race. It looks as though Australia are set for a 5-1, but there again, that bump proved so crucial for us again because Chris rode inside it to go inside Jason Crump when he lost control. Again, we can see it. Chris Louis on the outside is doing the cutback. We can see the rider in red there. Jason Crump just lifted again on that bump, and that threw the race away for Australia. Chris Louis was through.
While it's boiling up, Mark Loram is with Susie Perry.
Cheers, Tony. A bit of sweet heat, really. Bitter for you, unfortunately, and sweet for Chris, but for you, nothing you could do.
No, just the change just snapped before I even let the clutch go. I felt something as I pulled back. Felt something, of course nothing I can do by then. I'm on 2 minutes. I looked at the chain, it looked fine, but obviously one of the links had jumped out.
But Chris did remarkably well, didn't he, to take it and take the 3 points.
Chris always pulls off a good one when he needs to, so that's good for us, you know, at least we're still in there.
Okay, well, let's get back to the pits. Thanks a lot. In fact, cheers, Mark. Chris?
Yeah, I'm really annoyed with myself. I changed bikes and that bike was totally different to ride, you know, it was going forward, so I realised on the second lap that Mark had pulled out and keep going.
Sorry, Kel, go for it.
Actually, like on the first lap, you got squeezed up against the fence. It looked like you were going to get 5-1 there, but next minute you were back in front.
Yeah, it was helped a little bit down the bottom. Jason hit that sort of intrepid hole that everyone's had a go at,
sure.
And messed him up, which gave me plenty of room to run down the straight. But then the following lap, I hit the hole in the front wheel, which sort of put me.
But you were fast in that race.
Yeah, the bike was totally different, so you know, just push the boys on and it was tight.
Chris, well done. Keep an eye on the points because it ain't over till it's over. And back in the commentary position.
Each have 2 more to go. England's Carl Stonehewer, the reserve who won his last race in Flying Star, goes from the inside. Sam Malenko of the USA in yellow. Gate 3, Joe Screen for England on the outside. Billy Hamill, the track record holder, goes for the USA. This is the penultimate heat in the year 2000, the Millennium World Team Cup. England desperately need a 5-1. If they do, they're going to take some catching from Sweden. Who knows what can happen here? What a meeting, P3.
Oh, with 2 races to go, the tension's really mounting here. There's no doubt about that. Carl Stonehewer, we saw that fabulous ride he had last time with Joe Screen, and so promising now for England. If they can get this 5-1, they can end up possibly winning it, or at least having to have a run-off for the championship in an extra heat.
While the British riders Carl Stonehewer and Joe Screen are respectively 17th and 18th in the current Grand Prix standings. And with Billy Hamill going well, he's going to take some catching on his home league track and the track record holder. That's the man in white on the outside. But the man in blue there is Carl Stonehewer, and he is a man on whom England's hopes rest, Peter.
Yeah, and he just won the Premier League Riders title last week at Sheffield.
A confident rider at the moment is the 28-year-old Carl Stonehewer. Picks it up, but Joe Screen tries to take him wide. Joe Screen does and blocks the way. Good team riding here. Carl Stonehewer's in second place. A 5-1 is what England want, but look at Hamill coming through. Hamill in white. Stonehewer battles again. Stonehewer comes by Hamill and can't by him. The England pair are out front. The cheers here are tremendous. Joe Screen leading the way in red. Carl Stonehewer in second place. This heat could take England to World Cup glory.
Yes, Stonehewer's really getting a lot of grip at the moment. Joe Screen out in front, both of them on Michael Lee-tuned jazz.
track. It's team riding of the highest order. Stonehewer is really producing the goods as they go into the final lap. A 5-1 for England will need Sweden needing 5 points in their last ride to match that points total. Round they go, the final bend. The glory is there. Stonehewer looks back. Stonehewer go across the line together. In third place in white is Billy Hamill. England take it by 5 points to 1. England go into the lead to take their points total to 40. Sweden need a 5-1 to match it in their final heat. But what a ride by the England pair. With 1 heat to go, the meeting well and truly alive, and England well and truly in the driving seat. Oh, those two riders were wheeling from screen. The salute from Karl Stonehewer. What a race, what a ride, what a triumph. And really, those two riders, the cross of St George on the chest of Joe Screen as he does the wheelie around the track. A superb motorcyclist.
And tonight, on the start there in red, Joe Screen makes a beauty. Karl Stonehewer's right with him. Karl tucks in behind him. Now this is where it was crucial, because Billy Hamill had got a good run to squeeze through. But just look at Stonehewer. He pushes Hamill wide, stops his run down the outside, and then it looked as though we were on for a 5-1. But then Hamill rides that tight line. Stonehewer's now back in last place as the two Americans squeeze him. Stoney cuts right back between the two there and takes Billy Hamill, and a fantastic move there. Screen and Stonehewer both come from the schoolboy grass track background in the northwest of England. They've grown up together, and this move here from Stonehewer and Screen, unbelievable. Down that back straight, going for those 5 points. It really wasn't over at this point because Hamill came back, came inside there, that hole, and Stonehewer, what a good bit of thinking from Stonehewer to squeeze back straight through the two of them.
A very happy Joe Screen is with Susie Perry.
Thanks, Tony. Joe, you look a bit shell-shocked, mate. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I was sort of shell-shocked when I looked behind me and Karl was there. You know, I just knew I had to get off the start and keep me, eyes forward, and it's brilliant. What else more can sort of Stoney and I do? Absolutely nothing else. A 5-1 and perfect team riding too. Yeah, it was good to say. The first 2 laps, I got my arse up in the air and went, and when I looked round, Stoney was there, and it shocked me, but I sort of slowed down a bit, and me and Stoney, we've grown up together, and it's brilliant. Tremendous stuff, well done. I tell you what, something that you two ate in the pies in the break must have been speeding you up there. I never ate any. That's from Stoney. In fact, talking to...
Passing manoeuvre I've seen in Speedway this year. Between the two Americans, you duffed them up.
Yeah, well, I think I run Billy and up the top, and then Billy, I was just in front of Billy, and then he tried to take me out, and I thought I'd cut back quickly, and before I knew it, but Sam was there, and I thought, I'm going to either hit Billy's back wheel or Sam's going to hit me, and I was squeezed for the gap. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Well, it could be you guys racing off, couldn't it, if Sweden get a 5-1 as well? It's pressure on.
Yeah, so...
Must be those pies you had at the interval.
The pies I had at the interval. I've still got bloody heartburn now. I never get hungry when I'm racing, and I've been hanging around for that long today. I was
going to say, just getting back to the track, you couldn't have ridden here that many times, but your bike seems to be working perfect.
It's the 4th time I've ridden here, 5th time I've ridden here. I only ride here once a year, that's a British final. Plus this year I did the Grand Prix here as well.
Right, superb stuff. Thank you very much, Karl.
We look now at Peter Karlsson for Sweden on the inside in blue. In gate 2 for Australia, Lee Adams is the rider in white. For Sweden, Henrik Gustafsson goes in red, and a tactical substitute for Australia sees Jason Crump coming into this, and Jason Crump could become an honorary Englishman if he does it here, because Crump in yellow could be the man that could clinch the world title for England in this one, because they've got to stop Sweden getting a 5-1, and if they do, England will be the World Team Cup champions. And England haven't won it since 1989, and then they were captained by our own Kelvin Tatum. Heat number 24, Jason Crump, born in Bristol, could do his bit for the Englishman, I'm sure. We'll have to wait and see. Remember, his father Phil Crump is in the pits, and Phil at the time was riding for the old Bristol Speedway team. He's right at Newport as well, among others. Peter, you raced against Phil Crump.
He was a big rival of mine. I must say though, tonight it has been so close. England have kept their heads all the way through this. It's just unbelievable how close it's been all the way through.
If Sweden get a 5-1 in this, that's to say Henrik Gustafsson and Peter KARLSSON pack in 1 and 2, then there'll be a ride-off. Anything less than England will win it. Carl Stonehewer moving his way through the crowd of riders watching the action here in the pits as the tape's about to go up. Up they fly, away they go. And Sweden get what they want at the moment because in front in blue is Peter KARLSSON. Going with him round the outside is Henrik Gustafsson. Back in third place in white is Lee Adams. Jason Crump's at the back. If it stays like this, the Swedes will get a 5-1. We'll have a ride-off. It will build up to a tremendous climax. But Sweden are heading the Australians at the moment. The Australians will take the wooden spoon. The Swedes will race off against England with just over 2 laps to go. It's going Sweden's way.
It looks that way, Tony. Australia really struggling to make any impression now on the Swedes. Out front, Henrik Gustafsson's had a great meeting, but at the back it's still happening. They're trying all the time. Can one of them just sneak through and grab that 1 point?
Henrik Gustafsson out front, looks back, and now Jason Crump is trying to do his bit for England, the country in which he was born. If he can go by Peter KARLSSON, the World Team Cup will belong to England. But if it stays like this with 100 metres to go, the man in red, Henrik Gustafsson, will take it. And on the line in blue, Peter KARLSSON gets second place, and we're there for a ride-off. It couldn't have been closer. Sweden go to 40 points, England have 40 points, and we all know now there will be a ride-off. What a meeting. The work done by Henrik Gustafsson there. Not a fast time, but the checkered flag vitally important.
We're all behind Mark. I mean, I've been in similar situations to this, and he's got the weight of the nation now on his shoulders, and we hope he's going to be able to rise to it. It's going to be really tough with the way Tony RICKARDSSON was going early on, but we have seen some chinks in Tony's armour, and he's not unbeatable, so Mark's the man that can beat him.
They're going from gates 1 and 3. Mark Loram goes from gate 1. Tony RICKARDSSON actually going from gate 3 in the white helmet colours. Mark Loram going in red from the inside gate. That's the position. Just 2 riders on the track. Remember, for every other meeting, England team manager Dave Jessup and Carl Stonehewer looking on. Really, it's a great occasion for them. Dave Jessup, runner-up at Wembley, not that many years ago, it is a while back. The crowd in the background are looking on intently. Not one person has moved home down the motorways. The sun is starting to come out early evening here at Coventry. Our starting marshal walks away. Our referee watching. Skittles down the way they go. Mark Loram, oh, it's rough, it's tough, it's competitive, and Tony RICKARDSSON opens up a gap, and now Mark Loram will have to produce the sort of riding that we've seen him produce so many times, and Mark Loram goes down and crashes, and with it go England's hopes of the World Team Cup. And Tony RICKARDSSON, the 3-time world champion, will now know that with the race stopped, perhaps, just perhaps, the World Team Cup belongs to Sweden. We await our referee's decision.
Yeah, I think it's over, Tony. Mark will be excluded for that. And Mark went for that grippy bit, that hole that's on that bottom bend. He knew he could use it and get a load of grip to rock it round the inside. He knew it was his main chance, and he actually went down onto the floor, and I think he'll be excluded for that one. I think our championship's over.
It is over. Mark Loram has been excluded. England's World Team Cup hopes tumble out on the whole of that top end, and Tony RICKARDSSON, the 3-time world champion, has ensured that Sweden win their 8th World Team Cup. England will have to be satisfied as runners-up.
Yes, this is the first turn. Tony really pinned Mark down on the line, stopped him. Now Mark, we saw him earlier go through that grippy bit on the inside. He's gone right for it now. He knows if he can use it to his advantage, it could fire him into the lead, but he gets far too much grip. And very lucky he didn't take Tony RICKARDSSON with him, but there's a very, very brave attempt from Mark. He knew what he wanted to do. We can see it again. He's going right for that dark patch there on the circuit. Look at that. He knows there's so much grip down there, and it just went all wrong for him. Down he goes, off into the fence, and very lucky to walk away from that one, Tony.
While England hopes tumble out, Sweden win the World Team Cup. Mark Loram and Tony RICKARDSSON will resume their action later on in the week. It's the Speedway Grand Prix at Bydgoszcz.
The run-off, England finish in 2nd place, Mark Loram down in the dirt. The USA, superb performance from them, up into 3rd, and the defending champions Australia only 4th. That in itself is remarkable. Congratulations though to Sweden, celebrating long into the night after the fireworks and the celebration down there in the infield. Kelvin, I've got to say, great race from Sweden, but for me they won it in heat 15 with that 5-1 from KARLSSON and Gustafsson.
Yeah, that was a crucial part of the match. It was one of those situations where there hadn't been too many 5-1s. They popped it in that race and kept the ball rolling right to the end.
Mark Loram, right choice as far as England was concerned?
Tough call for Dave Jessup, the team manager for England. All the riders that could have gone, any of the riders rather, could have gone in that race. But at the end of the day, Mark Loram is the form rider, he's the top rider in the world at the moment, and the team manager had to plump for him.